All right, second video. We're going to be talking about current race relations in America and, well, I guess specifically the white and black issues. I understand that the ICE slash Mexican issues are also prevalent, but I want to talk about the prominent race relations because, as far as I know, and everyone else I know talks about, everybody seems to think this civil war is coming on. It's going to be race related. And there is some truth to why people feel that way, particularly because of mainstream media. I know everyone talks about it all the time, so I'm not really saying anything special, but mainstream media really does skew the way we see things, right? Because black people are killed at a rate much lower in white on black crime than, say, vice versa. But you never actually hear about the white on black crime, mostly because it's so common, but also because black people the aren't the majority. So more people will get mad if they hear about a white man killing a black man, even though it's far less statistically uh, it's happening far less statistically. So when you think about stuff like that, it's easy to see why people think that we're going to have some kind of race war because one side hates the other. And I don't really get it. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't. Uh, this semester, I took an Africana studies class. And in this class, we learned about prominent black history in America. And, it was very profound. I learned actually quite a bit. Stuff I would never even think about, because I'm a white man in America and it's just not something I would think about on a regular basis. And a lot of the things I learned, I wish I had known prior because that is stuff like that me as a white man or anybody else who's white should know. Like we should know what happened in the past. Sure, we shouldn't indoctrinate children into hating themselves or vilify an entire race of people, especially the minority of white people, because white people are the minority in the world as a whole. But we do need to learn what happened. And that's a direct solution to a lot of the problems. A lot of black people think that white people know nothing about prior transgressions, right? But they don't actually understand that we do know a lot of the prior transgressions, and a lot of us aren't, well, basically none of us are proud of it. If you are a racist white person, you're probably one out of 1.5 million at a time. Like your population size is near zero. If you're looking at a ratio chart, it's non-existent, right? Law of ratios. So racist white people, they don't really exist anymore. However, there's lots of racist black people. Black people hate white people. And in this class where I was learning a lot all this stuff, and I was often trying to find common ground. I was admitting to things and giving benefit of the doubt on a lot of our conversations. But what really irked me is that even after important conversations, say I gave up a bit of ground and I said, yes, well, this is obviously true. Okay, maybe we do get a little extra help because of our skin in some situations. There'd always be someone that had to say something bad to me because I'm white. Obviously, I'm one of the only three white people in the class. And it really got me thinking because we had this big conversation the one day. about how do we move forward, right? Because we have to move forward. I mean, as a society, we have to move forward. Preferably without the war, because white people outnumber blacks like 3 to 1. Not only would it be a slaughter, but it's just killing your fellow American. It doesn't make any sense. Um, Realistically, though, black people really hate white people, and this girl, we were talking about the ways forward, and she said, "Let's kill all the racist white people." And I look back and I'm like, "What are you talking? Kill the racist white people? Like, what are you talking about right now?" And she was just allowed to say this. And then another girl pipes in. She's like, "Yeah, well, we just need to talk about how white people have never done anything good for society." Just openly. They just say this shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you expect white people to be on your side? How do you expect me to care about your problems when you're saying stuff like that? I am openly trying to extend an olive branch. I'm trying to garner perspective on how you feel on the relations as they are. I'm trying to make amends with you. And you're going to tell me we should kill all the racist white people? How do we know who's racist? Are you the arbiter of who's racist? How do we choose the racist people? Do you have to think a certain way? Who's the arbiter of the thought? And it was such a productive class until I realized black people just hate white people. You can say maybe it's kind of justified. I mean, shitty stuff has happened to black people for a long time. That's true. But it's like, you can't move forward if you're stuck in the past. Now, a lot of black people will be like, well, we just want you to, admit what white people have done. And white people have admitted it. It's taught in schools. And for some reason, they kept talking about how we don't learn anything in school related to black history. I'm like, I remember learning about the Underground Railroad, about the Civil Rights Act, and about slavery. The important things, obviously, way more happened than just that, but the important things in America, we learned about them. Everyone does. And I just can't shake the fact that all I got from this class, perspective-wise on their end, I learned a lot. I actually grew as a person, and this is not because of my professor. My professor is an awesome human being. He taught the information well. I didn't agree with a lot of his takes, but it's an Africana Studies class, I went in there knowing I was going to be the only white conservative in the entire room. But when they're saying things like, let's kill the racist white people, and how white people have never done anything beneficial for society, and that all white people are racist, and everyone in the military who's not black is a racist. It's like, when you have these opinions, you can't expect people to be on your side, right? Because you're actively coming out against them. And I've been thinking about it, right? Like, what's a solution to this? Because I care about the solution. I actually care about my fellow American as a veteran of the United States. I care about my fellow man or woman or whatever you are. I care about you as a person. Like, I actually do. I love my country. I love my people. So I care about solutions. And the only thing I can imagine as a solution is that black people, unfortunately, just have to let it go, kind of, but not really. Like, you gotta learn, we should learn atrocities. We can't let people forget the atrocities, kind of like the Holocaust. But we have to move forward somehow. And you can't just dwell on the past and expect to move forward. I mean, if you're openly hating white people are not going to want to work with you. And white people are the majority of Americans. So how do you expect to move forward? How do you actually expect to move forward? And personally, I think we could give up some ground, say, we'll teach it more in class. I mean, critical race theory is its own thing. I'm not going to get into the politics of critical race theory because it could be a good thing. It could be, but it's not because it's politicized. You know, they use political reason. They make it so you just hate on white people the whole time. And a part of that, you have things like DEI, which I'm a I'm a big meritocracy guy, so I don't like people being given opportunity that shouldn't be afforded to them. However, I will say, you know, black communities, while it is a lot of the black community's fault, that doesn't mean we can't help them become more successful as a people, right? Uh, Even if you, not so much as a reparation, but more so as a, we want you to succeed as a people. We want you to live alongside us and succeed still. So why not give them opportunity that maybe we're not afforded, you know? A lot of people get mad about that take, and I understand why, and you're completely right for thinking it, actually. And meritocracy still is the ultimate way of going about things, but we do live in a country of social programs, right? Like people want to talk about our economic system being capitalism all the time and how we need socialism, and they don't realize how progressive America really is as a social system. Or we we're not socialist on paper, but we have these ginormous social programs. The only thing we don't have is healthcare, and partially that's because of lobbying, but it's also because we do all of the world's medical innovation, right? So you stop paying people, they stop innovating, right? So that's why we don't have universal health care. Otherwise, we definitely would, because we're a very populous state, and populism always leads to socialism. It's just how it works. Socialism leads to communism. Karl Marx's own words, but it's okay to help black people. They are only, what's the number? I'm pulling this out of my ass. I think it's is it 26, 27% of the population is black? I mean, that's not a lot of people. Uh, Relatively compared to America or white Americans, 65% or maybe some close to that. It's okay to offer help, especially to impoverished communities. I feel like you should do the same thing for white impoverished communities, but there's no reason we can't help white or black people and give them a little bit extra. But when you start taking jobs from people or opportunities from other people and giving them to people who don't deserve it just because of their skin color, that's rooted in evil, and it makes it hard for me to support you. How am I supposed to support you when I know you might be taking something from my son, my kid? What if my kid wanted to go to college and he beat your kid for that spot, but they didn't give him the spot because your kid was born a different color? I don't know, man. I don't think it's right that white people are vilified the way they are, especially white men. Uh, I do feel black people really do hate white people. They feel like they're justified. It doesn't really matter if they're justified, though, does it? Because they still hate white people, and we still need a way forward because unity is what matters. We'll never make progress as a people or as a country unless we somehow come together and we stop letting mainstream media divide us and tell us how to feel about each other, because that's what it really comes down to. I talked to I just got out of college this semester and talked to my fellow I have black friends. I know that's corny to say, but I do have black friends. And we always come to a middle ground. I mean, I don't think I've ever, especially even in the Africana Studies class. I mean, there are unreasonable people in there, like I said, But I've always been able to find middle ground with most black people, because at the end of the day, we kind of want the same things. It's just framed differently for each of us. It's just framed a bit differently in a way that makes it so we're putting ourselves over the other. And when you do stuff like that, it takes power away from the people and it gives it to the government. And there's a lot of money in keeping people divided. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of power involved. And people don't ask questions. Remember my first video when I said, how come you and I don't know things? Well, when we're all focused on fighting each other, you can't ask any questions, can you? Because you're too busy fighting the person to your left and right. Who cares that they're your fellow American, right? I don't know. There's another rant by Noble. Have a good night.